PR Connections Radio presents.
Welcome to Vegas Hockey Hub Recap here on PRConnectionsRadio.com, the voice of new media. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And on this edition of Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, where we break down every single game of the 2024-2025 season for your Vegas Golden Knights, we are going to be going over the latest matchup that just happened. And even though it didn't have the greatest start, it had a fantastic ending. So we're going to cover everything on this show, talking about what happened against the Utah Hockey Club. And this is going to be a really interesting and fun episode to go over. And we will cover the pregame notes. We'll go over the game itself, and then maybe some stuff that happened post-game that we did want to go over. So, yeah, a lot to talk about on this episode, and we'll be doing all of that here on Vegas Hockey Hub Recap. Now, as we are getting into this recap and talking about what happened in this matchup between the Utah Hockey Club and the Vegas Golden Knights, there was a big announcement that happened before the game kicked off. And for anybody who has been watching Vegas Hockey Hub, for anybody who knows your host Ian Rachiele personally, this was amazing news by the Vegas Golden Knights organization, as defenseman Brayden McNabb signs a 3-year contract extension for $10.95 million. And this is an amazing announcement because Nabber will be coming back, a fan favorite, one of the best defensemen on the Vegas Golden Knights organization, someone who is a misfit, a day one guy, will be extended and coming back. Now, personal emotion aside, because Brayden McNabb is your host's favorite player on the VGK Vegas Golden Knights organization, I will say that when it comes to bringing back an established veteran, someone who's one of the best shot blockers in the NHL over the past few seasons, it really opens up the idea that, okay, you extended Shea Theodore a while back. You extended now Brayden McNabb. You also have Hanifin, who you extended last year. You know, you have a situation where Alex Pietrangelo is on a long-term deal. That's not going to be up for a while. The defensive core has been locked up long-term. And for the Vegas Golden Knights, you can look at this positively. You can look at this negatively. But overall, this is an organization that already has 8 defensemen on the roster currently today. In fact, they had to use 7 defensemen in this game, but I'll get to that in a minute when I do the starting lineup. But yeah, Brayden McNabb having that extension, amazing news by the Vegas Golden Knights, and the fact that a day one misfit alongside a guy like William Karlsson is going to be staying with the Vegas Golden Knights and continuing his legacy as a member of the Vegas Golden Knights organization. And you know what? I will also like to point out that he is a second defensive pairing. He has been a second defensive pairing pretty much ever since they got rid of the Schmidt and McNabb line. But overall, Brayden McNabb, this is a guy who's dependable, he's reliable, and that's what you need from a defenseman, and it's what you can see from him almost every single night that he plays. This is someone who doesn't miss a lot of games. He's not injury prone, and that's what you can like about a defenseman like Brayden McNabb. So, yeah, him getting that contract extension was amazing news when I woke up to it when I was doing our pregame notes. And this one just kind of start that out. Now, we're about to get into the starting lineup because something interesting did happen in this lineup that we are going to go over. But we're going to talk about all of that here on Vegas Hockey Hub Recap, going over the Vegas Golden Knights and Utah Hockey Club game that just ended a while ago. Now, when it comes to that starting lineup, here is what it is, what we saw in this game. Now, on line one, you have the duo of Ivan Barbashev and Jack Eichel, 2 of the most constant players on this team. their production so far has been outstanding for the Vegas Golden Knights. And then the young rising star of this team, the guy who has really earned his first line opportunity since the injury of Mark Stone, and that is Pavel Dorofeyev on that first line. Now, on the second line, you actually have two members from the bottom six, and then somebody who has been on that second line for the majority of the year. As we have Tomas Hertl, Nicholas Waugh, and Keegan Kolazar. So Waugh and Kolazar, who have been line mates on the fourth line in the past, they're going to be on the second line. And Tomas Hertl, who has been, so far, hit and miss, depending on what category you care about and what kind of part of hockey you want. But overall, Hertl on that second line. Then on the third line, you have Brett Howden, William Karlsson, and Alexander Holtz. So Brett Howden, who's had a good start to the year for the Vegas Golden Knights. William Karlsson, who has had a bit of a hot streak since coming back from that missing in first few games with an injury. And then Alexander Holtz really trying to find his footing with the Golden Knights organization. But the fourth line is the most fascinating part of this game, as not only do you have Tanner Pearson and Cole Schwindt, who are two of the guys that they acquired at the beginning of the year, the newbies, if you would say, to the Golden Knights organization, but Caden Korczak, due to injuries and due to unfortunate circumstances, the Vegas Golden Knights are putting a defenseman on the fourth line as a forward. So instead of just having 7 defensemen, which Vegas has done periodically in the past, they're taking a defenseman, they're taking their 7th defenseman and converting him to a forward for this game. So yeah, very fascinating to see a defenseman like Caden Korczak to be on the line with Pearson and with Schwindt. Now, defensive pairings, they have been pretty much the same over the last few weeks. You have Noah Hannafin and Alex Pietrangelo, your first defensive pairing, the two best defensemen on this team, getting the job done on the first pairing. Defensive pairing 2, the two most recent extensions. Of course, we talked about Shea Theodore, who got extended a while back. And then today's extension was Braden McNabb on that second pairing. And then on the third pairing, with Nicholas Hague still being out due to injury, you got Ben Hutton, the reliable veteran, and Zach Whitecloud on that pairing. And then in net for your Vegas Golden Knights will be Adin Hill. So Adin Hill playing in Salt Lake City, going up against the Utah Hockey Club. And Adin Hill, he has had some interesting starts over the last few weeks, but has been dependable against certain teams. So we're going to have to see how he does here. So yeah, overall, that is the starting lineup for the Vegas Golden Knights. Hill in net. Defensive pairing's pretty much the same. And then Caden Korczak on the fourth line as a forward, being converted from a 7th defenseman. So that is the starting lineup for your Vegas Golden Knights as they prepare to take on the Utah Hockey Club. Now, getting into this game itself, there is one cause for concern I do want to quickly address. And damn, I really don't want to talk about this, but hey, here we go. We're already here. When it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights, the reason why they were down 2-0 at the end of the first period against Utah is just the amount of turnovers. Doesn't matter if it's turnovers in the defensive zone, turnovers in the neutral zone. I mean, this is just a situation where the Vegas Golden Knights organization, it just sloppy puck possession. The passes aren't great. You know, there's been a lot of interceptions going to the other end, if anybody understands football and that terminology. The Vegas Golden Knights really need to stop with the sloppy puck possession. Because with the amount of turnovers that this game had, only being down 2-0 in the first period was kind of a testament to Adin Hill. Adin Hill was on his head and was making some really good saves. Because if he didn't, this game would have gotten out of hand fast. So I'm not going to sit here and blame anybody. You know, I'm not going to call out Shea Theodore. I'm not going to call out Tomas Hertl. You know, I'm not going to do any of that. What I'm going to simply say is that for the Vegas Golden Knights, please stop turning over the puck, please. Or if you're going to do it, don't do it at the rapid rate that you are right now. Because the sloppy puck play, the moving the puck around, going from left to right, shooting the puck from right to left, it's causing you to lose possession and forced to go back on the back foot. So instead of being offensive minded, you're trying to go down the ice. When you get intercepted, you're having to then pivot and try to go back and try to play on the defensive end and playing on your back foot. So yeah, turnovers really concerning. And when it came to the Vegas Golden Knights, I mean, the fact that you were down 2-0, and the fact that you gave a power play goal to Mikhail Sergachev made it a 2-0 game. I got nothing against the Logan Cooley goal. That first goal of the game, Logan Cooley did what he did. I had no problem with that. But that power play goal by Sergachev, really the sloppy passes is why that goal really started to begin with. It was really the turnover and the amount of possession that really caused that. So yeah, the turnovers very concerning when it comes to the Vegas Golden Knights. So after that first period comes and goes, Vegas is down. Then beginning of the second period, Vegas, they let up a power play goal. You're down 2-0. Well, the Vegas Golden Knights would get an opportunity in this game as they would get to go on the power play. And if there is anybody that the Vegas Golden Knights can trust to score a power play goal, if there's anyone that you would want to have the puck be on their stick come the power play, it would be Tomas Hertl. It's not only towards the end of the second period, Tomas Hertl would score his 6th goal of the season, and on the power play, thanks to Nicholas Waugh and Jack Eichel with the assist, he would cut the deficit down to 1, making it a 2-1 game for the Utah Hockey Club at the end of the second period. And then in the third period, there would be some shenanigans that would happen with the Utah Hockey Club that would turn the Vegas Golden Knights back on the power play. And once again, if the Vegas Golden Knights are on the power play, who do you trust to get a power play goal? That is exactly right. You would go to Tomas Hertl, as thanks to Jack Eichel with his 2nd assist of the game. He would get it to Tomas Hertl in the back of the net and would have back-to-back goals and back-to-back power play goals for the Vegas Golden Knights. So for Tomas Hertl, 7th goal of the season for the Vegas Golden Knights. And, I really like what we're seeing from Jack Eichel, by the way. This is somebody in Jack Eichel who, yes, he can score goals. We all know he can, but he's also a facilitator and someone who can get the puck to the right person, and that's what he did in this game. So, yeah, very happy to see Tomas Hertl scoring back-to-back power play goals and putting the Vegas Golden Knights in the beginning of the third period back to even with the Utah Hockey Club. So after having that really bad start to the game and letting up those first 2 goals to Utah, thanks to Tomas Hertl, your Vegas Golden Knights would then be back in the game and would make it a tie situation with Utah, making it a 2-2 situation. So, yeah, overall, I really like what we saw in this game. I think with Hertl, he's really starting to develop himself as that power play, lieutenant, if you want to say there, someone who can really take advantage of what he has on the power play. So that's something he's done for majority of his career, but we're happy to see that he's doing it now with your Vegas Golden Knights. And then with the hard-fought battle and everything that's going on, third period, there were some opportunities. I mean, Jack Eichel had an opportunity that did get stopped. And then with 2 minutes left in the game, you would have a situation where Kaden Korczak, Cole Schwint, they would pass it over to William Karlsson. William Karlsson puts it in the back of the net, and the Vegas Golden Knights would pick up the victory also because of William Karlsson. As a minute after that goal, the Utah Hockey Club would pull the empty net, and William Karlsson would put it in the back of that empty net. It would make it a 4-2 victory for the Vegas Golden Knights. And so scoring 2 goals in the last 2 minutes of the game for William Karlsson. This is not only his 3rd, but 4th goal of the season. So after coming back from missing the first few games of the season, William Karlsson, 4 goals on the year, multi-goal performance by William Karlsson. And overall, I really like what we saw from William Karlsson. I mean, we understand the line that he has with Brett Howden and Alexander Holtz, but that 4th line did step up in that moment. And I really like what we saw from Cole Schwindt. Yes, this is someone who hasn't scored a goal yet with the Vegas Golden Knights organization, but he's a young guy. He's working hard on that 4th line, and I appreciate the hustle we're seeing from Cole Schwindt. So, 2 power play goals by Tomas Hertl. That gets him back in the game. A multi-goal performance by William Karlsson ends the game with a victory for the Vegas Golden Knights. And before we kind of break down one last thing involving the Vegas Golden Knights, I do want to briefly mention the fight that happened in this game, as Nicholas Waugh would fight Ian Cole after Ian Cole would end up causing some shenanigans, like I alluded to earlier, and Nicholas Waugh did not take too kindly to those said shenanigans. So Nicholas Waugh, defending his teammates and really defending his team in general, would fight Ian Cole. And I mentioned this fight because when it did happen, Vegas was down 2-1. So to say that this might have caused some momentum to be turned around for the Vegas Golden Knights, you could make an argument that it did, because this was a Vegas Golden Knights team that was really, just playing on the defensive end and kind of playing catch up. And then after that fight to begin the 3rd period, the Vegas Golden Knights would score 3 goals afterwards and win this game. And really good job. I do want to say congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights on picking up the victory and winning their first ever game at the Delta Center. Now, they did play a preseason game at the Delta Center. However, that is preseason. That does not count. So with this being the first official regular season game played out there in Salt Lake City, out there in Utah, congratulations to the Vegas Golden Knights on picking up the victory and getting the win. Now, the player of the game, and we do this for every single recap, every single game, the player of the game will go to the power play general himself, and that is Tomas Hertl. Not only having a 2-goal performance, but helping the Vegas Golden Knights get back in this game, bring that electricity back into the lineup. And, I could have mentioned Jack Eichel with his 2-point performance, having 2 assists on the game. William Karlsson having a 3-point night, 1 assist and 2 goals at the end. But you really have to thank Tomas Hertl for really getting this team back to where they needed to be. And this is your current win-loss record for the Vegas Golden Knights. Clearly, in a few days, we are going to have a matchup against the Washington Capitals. This is going to be an emotional game for some fans, as you are going to see Logan Thompson and Aiden Hill projected to face off. And obviously having the former teammates and a former goalie of the Vegas Golden Knights organization facing off against his former team is going to be impactful. But yeah, overall, looking at the Golden Knights schedule and looking at what they have accomplished so far, this is an organization that's had a rocket start out of the gate, and they have done a really stellar job entering this year. So overall, Vegas Golden Knights, I like what we've seen from them. And obviously, we're going to do the recap show for the game against Washington. And it's going to be a very sentimental episode when we do see the Capitals and the Golden Knights face off. Kind of curious to see what the tribute video will look like, considering he was the goalie and, more importantly, on Vegas Hockey Hub, I had him as the MVP of the Vegas Golden Knights last year. So, I'm really curious to see what that looks like. So, this was the Vegas Hockey Hub recap, breaking down what happened in this game against Utah. And, the comeback kids, after being down 2-0, they get back into it, and they win this game 4-2. Excellent job by the Vegas Golden Knights. So until next time, this is Vegas Hockey Hub, recap. I'm your host, Ian Rachiele. And until next time, go Knights, go.
PR Connections Radio thanks you for watching this podcast. Check out more episodes of this show and our others at prconnectionsradio.com.